So, what is your why? What is your why for wanting to win? Is your why because you look at your neighbors and you see them doing something that looks like they're winning? Is your why because you scroll on social media and you see people that look like they're winning? Do you want to win because you have suffered a crisis and you don't want to go on quite like this? What is your reason for wanting to win? What is your why for wanting to do better than you're doing right now? These are the questions that we love to have here in the Winner's Circle. I'm so glad that you're participating in this conversation, and I welcome you into this community. I'm Dr. Sean. I'm the author of Discover Choice and the author of The Search for Wellness. I love these questions because they help us to get at some answers so that we can advance our mindset. And when we advance our mindset, when we develop our mindset, when we, let's say, go from a scarcity mindset to a growth mindset or to an abundance mindset, then everything gets better. And so that's why we really want to understand why it is that we want to win. And I'm having this conversation assuming that you want to win. That is how I talk to everybody when I meet them in the hospital and anywhere. That is the assumption that I make. Many times I've seen people that have crises and perhaps they have poor health. But when I look at them, they have their haircut that's recent, they get their nails done, they're groomed in other ways. They have things that they're working on, but I've become convinced that we all want to win, we all want to do well, but we don't have an idea that we have choices. That's why I have suggested that the root of all disease is this idea that there aren't as many choices, that we don't have options. Check that video out. So now, back to the question though. Why do you want to win? Now, I wouldn't ask a question like that if I didn't want to make some recommendations for you. I just want to give some background about this, and then we're going to get to these recommendations. I would be treating people in the hospital and I'd meet a cardiologist and we have a patient in common. And the cardiologist would say, hey, that patient in 212 bed B, do you want to use clopidogrel or aspirin or both? I'd answer that question. I'd go down the hall. I'd see another colleague, let's say an internal medicine colleague, and they would ask the same question about a different patient. Do you want to use clopidogrel, aspirin, or both? We'd have that conversation. I'd go upstairs. Basically, this has been going on for 30 years. I mean, my whole career, really. But here's the deal. We use these medications. We do what we can do medically, but people are still at risk. And so we can't have a conversation about what is your why in the hospital when somebody's had a crisis. It's not an appropriate time to have this conversation. Many times it's not appropriate for us to have it in a doctor's office also. But what are we going to do? Just not make the sorts of changes that we need to make in our health system so that people are doing better? That is what the Winner's Circle community is about. It is about developing our mindset so that we can have better health, enjoy better health, a better health journey, the search for wellness, right? A better, more effective and a more successful journey that we are enjoying health-wise, lifestyle-wise, personal life-wise, and in all ways. So here are some recommendations I want to make for your why, because sometimes we're not moving forward because we don't have a why. So the first one, to which I have alluded earlier, is that we don't want to just live with risk factors, live with risks. If we're not working on winning, well, then we're at risk for, it's better to have a goal toward winning, okay? Because we don't want to be at risk. Now, that is the deal with health issues. That is the deal with our career. If we are not working on improving in our career, well, you hear people talking about AI all the time, about globalization and about modernization and digitization. If we are not advancing, well, then we are at risk. If we're not improving our personal lives, our relationships, well, then we are also at risk. All right, so if we're not thinking about victory, well, then we are at risk. All right. So the first recommendation for a why is let's not live in risk. Let's decrease our risk factors by not thinking about our risk factors per se, not thinking about disease, all right, but thinking about winning and winning only, a lifestyle. Okay. We're not talking about an outcome. We're talking about a lifestyle, a mindset that we are getting up with and going to bed with at night. Now, another recommendation for a why that I'd like to recommend is let's have some direction. If we're not thinking about victory and winning, well, then we don't necessarily have direction in our, let's say, what we're eating or what it is that we are watching on television, what we're listening to, who we're listening to, who we're hanging out with. All right. When we have a direction, when we have a goal, when we have an idea, a victory, well then, and if we've really committed to it, well then everything will be influenced by that idea. That's a suggestion. All right. And the final recommendation I'd like to make on this for a why to choose victory, is to become the best version of yourself, the best version of yourself. That's a mindset. Again, it's a journey. I'm not talking about an outcome. I'm talking about how we wake up in the morning and how we go to bed at night. We can start to enjoy that right now, right this moment, today. Okay, right now, as a matter of fact. And if we're doing that, if we're thinking about the best version of ourselves, and our kids look and see us living with this new best version of ourself idea, well then things will change in their environment also. So there are a lot of benefits to having that as a why. So that's 3 whys. I hope you have written these down. I'll just summarize by saying that I wanted to share with you some whys for choosing victory as a mindset and also a way of life. The first is so that we're not living at risk. The second is so that we have some direction about what we are doing, what we're eating, who we're listening to, what we're watching, what we're spending our time with. And the final is because we want to become the better or best version of ourselves and enjoy all of the secondary benefits that happen as a result of this. I hope that you appreciate this, and I hope that this keeps you and gets you winning for today. I appreciate your participation in this conversation and your community in this Winner Circle community. I appreciate the encouragement and the comments that you offer. These are the conversations we'll be having in our search for wellness. We're doing it together. This is what I'm doing. I welcome your contributions into that community. Click on that and join that community if you can. We are attracting this bunch of people where we'll be celebrating the kinds of wins we are having on a regular basis. Share this video if you think that somebody resonates with this. And until then, keep winning, guys. Take care.